Hey guys, MGH here and welcome back to a BPL breakdown. I haven't done one of these for a long time. If you're new around my channel over the last few months, you might not know what my BPL breakdown videos are about. Basically what we do in the background, you can see I am simming a match between the well, I want to say the biggest match of the weekend. I tend to pick out the biggest match of the weekend, sim the match, so the CPU is playing for both the teams. And it kind of gives an element of prediction from FIFA, an outside source to the match, whilst I talk about the fixtures, the team news, all that stuff, and give my own predictions. So that's how these videos work. I can't see the background gameplay at the moment. I need to record it after this. But I'm hoping Arsenal will win. The small thing I need to mention, guys, is EA are very slow at updating the game. And Tottenham don't have all of their brand new signings in this. So unfortunately, you could say it's a little bit unfair to Tottenham, but what I've done is I've gone into their team and I've put in players that, are playing at the moment. I've left Bale out for obvious reasons, and obviously because Arsenal have more chance of winning without him playing. But anyway, let's talk about the game itself while the game in the background plays on. So, 4 PM today at the Emirates, Arsenal versus Tottenham. I'd say one of the most highly anticipated games for neutral fans as well. It's always explosive, there tends to be red cards. There's a lot of goals. I think actually there's more goals in this fixture than any other fixture in the Premier League's history. So there you go. That says enough. Koscielny is back after his one-game ban. And his head injury was fine, by the way, which is really good to see. Aaron Ramsey and Jack Wilshere both fit. Although apparently during the week they had a little bit of a knock, but they are playing. But obviously Lucas Podolski, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, Arteta are all sidelined. They're all injured. In terms of Tottenham news, I have read into it a bit. Aaron Lennon is doubtful with a foot injury, and I think it was Adebayor and Esu Akoto who are out as well because they're tired or they're lacking fitness or something. And the new defender they signed, I think it was Vlad Chiritriz or something. I'll be honest, I haven't heard of him before. Apparently he's not going to be involved. I think it's too soon since he just signed. But my general thoughts of today's games, let's get this out there. What are my general thoughts? I'm nervous, I really am. I'm going to be doing a Q&A at the end of this video, and someone has said the same kind of thing, so I'm interested to answer that question. I always feel nervous before these games, but I was thinking this morning, I never used to. I used to watch these games every weekend, like, in the previous seasons. And when the Tottenham one would come up, it wouldn't bother me because I knew we'd beat them, Back in the day when I was playing for my local football side, we'd go to that local pub area and watch the football on the screen. Slightly illegal. I don't think you're allowed to be in a pub on your own, are you, when you're that young? But yeah, now these days, because Tottenham are looking pretty much as strong, if not stronger than Arsenal, I get nervous. I really do. And right now, I'm just a little bit nervous because if today goes wrong for Arsenal, and then it goes more wrong over the next few days and we don't bring any players in, I'm going to be so depressed. I'm really, really, really worried about Arsenal's problems, if you know what I mean. It's not looking good. We have to win today. I said this yesterday in my 12-minute rant video. If you haven't seen that, I would recommend you go and watch it. People have said that was pretty cool. Do appreciate that, guys. I just went on a full-blown 12-minute rant about Arsenal. And, well, I still feel the same today, but I did say in that video, if Arsenal lose this match and they don't bring any players in, I'm so not looking forward to the next few, well, the rest of the season pretty much, until January at least, when maybe we could bring in some players then. But Tottenham, I've got to say, if there's ever been a chance for them to finally beat Arsenal and finish above them, this is the season to do it. I really do think that. So, you Tottenham fans, I think you're in for a good season. You had a decent season last season. There's too many seasons in this bloody sentence. You obviously just missed out on fourth towards the end, which obviously I'm not gonna say unlucky on because we deserved that. I think with that run and form we went on with Arsenal. But yeah, let's talk about some stuff that's in the news. So I just read this morning, and I saw it I think last night very late, that Spurs have been keeping Real Madrid waiting on the whole Bale transfer in hopes to make it harder for Arsenal to sign some players. That is just hilarious. That really is. And I wouldn't put it past Daniel Levy or whoever's behind that. I think that's actually got some truth in it. So the whole idea of it is, Tottenham have purposely kind of delayed the whole Bale transfer to the very last day because it's going to make it very difficult for other clubs to move in for Real Madrid players or Tottenham players, and it's derailing thoughts, isn't it? It's derailing the ideas behind transfers, and that for me is absolutely hilarious. It really is, and it's quite clever. And obviously, I'm not happy they're doing it, but it's working, because say Arsenal wanted Di Maria. Thoughts behind Real Madrid's transfer is we'll only get rid of Di Maria once we get Bale. If they get Bale last minute, they will have to either, lose Di Maria in a real panic buy situation, or just have to keep hold of him, which I'm guessing they won't want to do because of all the wages and things like that. So it's making it more difficult for Arsenal to actually make the signings, and not just Arsenal, other clubs as well. In other news, Wenger has said he calls the shots on the players and transfers, and he would not like to work for a director of football like Baldini, who's, I think it's Baldini, or is it Baldini, Tottenham's director of football. Basically, a director of football would make all the signings. It's as simple as that. He would be the one who says yes and no, and I think that Joe Kinnear, I think that's what he's doing at Newcastle as well, right? Or at least he's helping Pardew, call the shots there with the transfers. And I couldn't agree more with what Arsene Wenger's saying here. This is a quote. He said, "A director of football buys the players. When they don't work for you, the manager is guilty for them not playing well. If it works, the director of football has bought well. I'm not against having people to help me buy and sell. I cannot do it all. I'm not Superman. But the final decision has to belong to the manager to decide who comes in and who goes out. He is responsible for the style of play and the results. I have to stand up for the results of the team. It makes sense that the manager makes those decisions." This is why I'm still Wenger in. He does come up with these great sentences, great quotes, I should say. Although recently he has said some relatively stupid things as well. I cannot deny that. Sometimes I see some of these other quotes, like the other day, Tottenham have gone over the top with their signings. It's like, well, don't say that. Why would you say that? Yeah, it might be true, but you don't say they've gone over the top. It's just pure jealousy, isn't it? That kind of stuff makes me think he's losing it a bit. But when he's talking about the director of football here and how he thinks the manager should be behind everything, I could not agree more. Anyway, let's do some quick fire facts. I like to do that. So these are all from the Premier League website. The last 4 North London derbies between Spurs and Arsenal has finished 2-1 to Spurs, 5-2 to Arsenal, 5-2 to Arsenal, 2-1 to Arsenal. 2-1 to Spurs, and then Sunday, who knows what it's going to be. So, every time Arsenal have won in the last 4 games, it's been 5-2, and whenever Spurs have won, it's been 2-1. So, I've got to say, looking at that fact, every time it's been at the Emirates in the last 2 times, it's been 5-2 to Arsenal. So, let's see if we can get a hat-trick of 5-2. There have been 124 goals in BPL matches between Spurs and Arsenal, more than any other fixture. There you go. So that proves what I said at the start. Spurs have kept 3 clean sheets in a row in the BPL. The last time they kept 4 in a row was January 2010. So that would be a great result for them if they could keep a clean sheet tonight. Whether that would be a draw or a win, who knows. Arsenal have failed to score in just 1 of their last 29 matches against Spurs. So that previous fact is looking extremely unlikely for Spurs, because Arsenal, like I just said, they've only failed to score in just 1 of the last 29 games against Spurs. So they're pretty much, they're going to score. Overall head-to-head record in the BPL, Arsenal have 16 wins and Spurs only have 9. 17 draws as well. So actually quite a few draws in this fixture, and that's what I think is going to happen today. But we'll talk about that in a minute. So we've got some questions from Twitter. Someone called Sam A. Berthanethi 45. Sorry if I'm pronouncing your names wrong. If Arsenal don't sign anyone before the end of the transfer window, where do you see them finishing? It's a very good question. I was going to end on this, but I thought I'd start with it. Personally, I think if we bring in some players that we need, like a solid CDM, maybe a winger and a striker, and maybe some defensive, just a couple of signings, I honestly think we'll have no problem in getting 4th. However, if we don't sign anyone, as the question says, I think that Tottenham will pip us to 4th, no problem, and we will finish 5th. I really hate saying that, but that's what's going to happen. It's as simple as that. As a Spurs fan, this is from Sean Walsh, I always feel nervous and worried before these matches. How about you as an Arsenal fan? So I've kind of answered this question already. I used to be completely confident with the team, you know, when Vieira, Henry, Pires and all those guys were playing, that we would always pull out the win or at least get a draw even at Tottenham at White Hart Lane. But nowadays I get very nervous. Last night when I got in bed and I thought, oh shit, yeah, it's the game tomorrow, I got a bit like, oh God, I hope we don't lose that, you know? So absolutely, I feel you, Sean Walsh. It should be nerve-wracking for both teams because I think in this current time, both teams are so close to each other in terms of strength. And I think that's what makes it more nerve-wracking. It's such a tight fixture these days. Jonathan White says, if you could have one Spurs player at Arsenal, excluding Bale, who would it be? Now, I could do something like, you know, pick just their best player to make them weak or their best player to make us stronger. But in terms of picking a player that Arsenal would actually need, I'd go with Paulinho. I think Paulinho is an absolute steal for Tottenham. He's a fantastic player, going forward, going back. His passing is exquisite, and I think he would fit into the Arsenal side more so than the Tottenham side. I think that Brazilian type of player does fit in well to Arsenal's style, but that could be just me jealous, you know. So I think I'd take Paulinho, although I wouldn't mind taking Kyle Walker. I think Walker is better than most people say. That pace down that right side, and he has a great shot on him. You've seen him score some crazy good goals outside the box. But I think Sanya, you know, he's only got a couple of years left in his game. I reckon he's gone past it now. His prime era has finished, and I think having someone like Kyle Walker to step in would be a good choice, a solid choice, proven in the Premier League player. He's a bit error prone, but I think he would do a good job. How do you think the new Spurs players will gel? That's from Ericsson Lamella. His actual name is Danny Revel, I think. Obviously, it's an absolute proven fact that players take quite a long time to gel if you throw in 6, 7 new players like Tottenham have done. It will take them time, no doubt. I'm hoping that it's not enough time before we start getting above them in the league. I'm hoping that, you know, it won't happen until Christmas time before they start really gelling. Because the moment this team clicks at Tottenham, I'm pretty horrified. It's going to be pretty good. I've got to say I'm a little bit nervous about that. So I'm going to say a couple of months. I think probably towards the end of October and November, just before it starts getting really cold, this team will really work each other out and they'll start playing well together. But they'll play well together now. It just to really get that chemistry going, I think it'll take a while. But that's a good question. And then to end the episode, guys, Callum Moore says, what score do you think it's going to be? I think it's going to be a draw, and I'm going to go with 2-2. I think Tottenham will go 2-0 up, and then Arsenal will fight back and get the 2-2. And I'm going to be shaking my boots. Well, I won't be wearing boots. I'll be pissing my boxers when we're 2-0 down and fighting, trying to get back. But I do think it's going to be a draw. I don't know who's going to score. I don't give a shit. I would actually take a 2-2. I honestly would. I would take that right now. Because if it goes well for Tottenham, they could probably do some damage. And the same for Arsenal. If Tottenham don't show up today, Arsenal could really put a new arsehole in their team. But anyway, thank you so much for watching this BPL breakdown. I'm hoping I'm going to be able to get it up before the actual game starts with this new internet. It's pretty shit. But please do leave a like rating, guys. I'd really appreciate that. And subscribe if you haven't already. And let's hope the game goes well for us Arsenal fans. And good luck to Tottenham fans. I have a lot of respect for you guys. As long as you're not an arsehole on Twitter, and let the best team win.